Cats are jerks.
Cats are not jerks. They're just discriminating. They may or may not get along, and it could be mayhem or it could be adorable.
This is the plaintiff, John Bushatsky. He says the defendant gave her vicious cat proximity to his nice cat, and his cat was attacked and injured. His cat needed surgery for the infected bite, which blew up to the size of a baseball. The woman needs to pay his vet bills but refuses, so here they are. He's suing for $1,600.99, the amount owed. This is the defendant, Miles. She says the plaintiff has a hairless cat, and they're very sensitive and emotional animals. She moved in with her cat, and they were kept in separate rooms. Then, one day, he claims her cat attacked his because his cat had an abscess on his back. No one witnessed any altercation. She has no idea what happened to the skin on this hairless cat, and simply owes nothing. She's accused of starting a cat fight.
All parties, please use your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
You seated? Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
John Bushatsky, you are suing Miles for $1,600.99 that you say you are out for vet bills, Uber trips back and forth, and loss of work because of the fact that you say her cat attacked your cat. Tell me what happened.
Well, Miles moved into our apartment the beginning of July.
Who else was living there?
My current roommate. That's a 3-bedroom apartment. We needed a third roommate. So Miles was a coworker, a friend somehow of my current roommate, and when he mentioned the situation to me, he also mentioned that she had a cat, so we had made this arrangement to keep the cat separated for the first month while she lived there.
Because you had a cat?
Yes, and cats are jerks.
Cats are not jerks. They're just discriminating. They may or may not get along, and it could be mayhem or it could be adorable.
Yeah.
Right.
So because my cat's vulnerable, he has no fur.
What kind of cat do you have?
He's a Sphinx. We made it clear that because he's vulnerable, we'll keep them separated for the first month, acclimate them slowly.
He's so vulnerable. Why do you even consider a roommate who has a cat? Why didn't you just keep looking?
Because she was a friend. We needed somebody to get in the space.
So go ahead.
And we figured we'd give it a try and see how it goes. And it seemed that we were all on the same page with how to acclimate them.
Right.
So she moves in, and after about 5 or 6 days of living there, I come home from work. My cat is in my room, which is odd because that's not how things should have gone, and not according to.
What do you mean by in your room?
He was in my room with the door closed, and he should have been free to roam the apartment.
Where would her cat be then if you guys were?
In her bedroom.
So her cat was supposed to, the deal according to you is that her cat's supposed to be in her bedroom at all times?
For the first month, so they could
Smell
sniff each other under the door. We were putting the food bowls near the entrance of the door so that they would be forced to smell each other.
Okay. For a whole month?
Yeah. I mean,
if I'm the cat, that would be driving me nuts. I'm smelling another cat, but I can't see the other cat. I think I'm going crazy, All right. A whole month. Wow. And out of curiosity, why did you guys pick a month rather than 3 days or something? Did you read that?
Well, I was told that Miles was doing this, looking online at how to properly introduce cats.
So she was the one who suggested a month?
I believe so.
All right. So what happens? You come home.
I come
the
home.
Cat's.
After the first week, I come home and my cat's in my room and he's got little holes in his, above his tail on his back, and a little cat claw sticking out. It's just at that point I was just really aggravated and just had no idea what had happened because nobody was home to explain. So I waited up for Miles to come home, and she explained to me that she decided that it would be okay just to let them interact, and she wasn't paying attention, and she heard some commotion amongst the cats and then just put my cat in my room.
Did you take the cat to the vet?
Not immediately, no, because first I didn't realize that it was a bite. I thought it was just a scratch. I cleaned it. 2 days later, I come home, my cat's in my room again, this time in the middle of July. It was like 90 degrees out. All the rooms in this apartment get really warm because there's big windows and I didn't have a curtain. So I come home, he's in my room again, it's 90 degrees out, no AC, no water bowl, he's panting. I take him out of the room, bring him to the water bowl. He lays down in front of the water bowl, drinks it, I refill it, he drinks half of it. So at this point, I texted her and let her know that this was the second act of negligence against my cat. She put his life in jeopardy, and this situation wasn't going to be able to work anymore.
When do you take your cat to the vet?
The next day, because I woke up and...
Do you have the vet report?
Yes.
May I see
Well, I
it?
have the vet bill.
No, the bill just tells me the amount. You don't have anything from the vet, like an explanation?
No.
Okay, let me see what you do have. What happened?
Yeah, well, I wanted to say something about the month thing, or there was no agreement about a
How long?
month. Yeah, there was an agreement that it would be a 60-day trial to see if they could get along.
Right.
And I did say that I have introduced cats before in the past, and I've moved around a lot, so I've been able to do the whole process where you let them smell each other. I was the one who fed them on different sides of the door. I was the one who monitored them slowly coming together, so we could open the door and let them see each other. Cats are really sensitive. Cats can't just
So was there any preordained amount of time that they would be kept
60
separate?
days. Oh, for the separation?
Yeah.
For the separation, I think that I had looked it up and said it said 2 weeks, but that was going to be case by case, and we were going to figure it out, and it was going to be a process.
So at some point you figured that we're there, let's take the next step, and what happened?
His cat was pretty menacing. His cat was territorial. Been the only cat for a long time. His cat was always outside my bedroom door, kind of waiting. So on the days that I had off, I did keep them separate. If I wanted to go watch TV on the couch, I wanted my cat on the couch with me, so I put his cat in his room. And then when I would leave, my cat would go back in the room, so she was back in her cell almost, and then his cat had free reign of the apartment. So I did switch it up and interchange it.
So on the day that it happens, what happened?
The day that it happened, there was one time where I was on the couch again with my cat, watching a movie. His cat came out, sniffed mine, and then walked away.
How did his cat come out?
His cat came out of his room. The doors were open. My cat was on the couch in the living room.
Yeah, but why
common
was the
space.
door open to his room?
Because I didn't because he had already yelled at me about having his cat locked away. I was okay, I won't do that. I'll just keep an eye on it. I'll just keep my cat with me on the couch,
Okay.
and then if something happens, I'm right there.
Okay.
So my cat was on the windowsill. His cat.
That's not with you. Okay.
Yeah, no, Okay, so here's the couch.
Yeah, okay, I
Here's the
got it.
TV,
So
here's
your
the
cat's on the windowsill.
The cat's on the windowsill. His cat comes up and just sits there and looks at my cat and then gets bored and walks away. And I was like, yes, it's happening. It's cool. Seriously, an hour later, I went to my cat gets off the windowsill. I think she's gonna go eat or whatever. She does. She's up on the cabinets, and then his cat is too. And I have a picture of it.
Okay.
My cat's asleep, chilling, and his cat is just staring mine down.
Okay, but they're animals. See, guys, we don't decide which of the animals was more menacing. We decide
No.
whether the human in charge did something wrong.
Totally.
So what I'm trying to figure out is that where it happened, up on the cabinets?
No, I don't know where it happened because I heard it, I
Right.
didn't see it, right? And then I separated them real quick, and then my cat went into my room, and his cat, I think I put his cat in. No. I think his cat was freaking out at me, so I just left and went to work. Honestly, they're scary animals. They're really emotional animals. But yeah, I don't know. It happened. I didn't see it. I didn't witness it. But
Right,
I'm
and
sure
now
just from the
he
sounds.
has a bunch of vet bills. I don't have any vet bills. All I have is just a line that says 1,013. I need to see what was done. For all I know, the cat had
have
liver
it on
surgery.
my
I have no idea.
phone.
So do you have it on your phone?
Yes.
Yeah, that'll do. Did you ever see the vet bills?
I
Because
did
you had
see-
offered to pay the vet bills.
I
right?
did a portion of it, and I had also, the day that he took it to the vet, or the day that he showed me what was up, like the morning that I woke up, he was like, "Look at my cat." I could tell that like there was like an
Did you ever tell him about what had happened?
Yeah, of course I told him that like I heard something, and then that made sense that there would be an abscess 2 days later or something,
Okay.
or whatever period of time.
Right.
When he decided, he put down $700 of the grand, right? That was the initial bill, was $1,000. I was like, cool, I got the 7, but if you don't want to like work something out with me and you don't want to,
He
like,
wants your money. He just didn't want you to continue to live there.
clearly, I
right.
had just
But what were
moved
you
in.
doing? Were you trying to hold him hostage to the living situation,
No,
or no? You were going to pay no
I
matter
was
what.
well out of there, dude.
Okay,
Like, I got.
but-
No, it was a terrible experience. He was
Okay.
slamming cabinets and stuff. It was awful.
He was mad.
The whole time. It was.
Right.
There was seriously something that was going on, something that was wrong, like
Well,
every day.
his cat was injured, and he didn't like the arrangement. So what ended up
that's-
happening? You get a different roommate?
Yes.
Okay. So your cat's fine now, right?
Yeah. He's got
All
a
right. So
nasty
the
scar.
first bill. Can I see page 2 of this? No, I can't, because you have a picture of the front of the bill. You don't even have you have the date cut off in this picture. How do you not have the vet bills you're suing on when you come to court? I'm so flabbergasted. I'm going to take a recess. I'm going to give you access to a phone and a fax and figure it out and get your act together. That's
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So how difficult is it if you have a new cat and you bring it into a house where there's already a cat without a fight breaking out? Who has cats here? You have a cat?
Yes.
What do you say?
I say it depends on the cat. All cats are different. Some don't like others.
If there's a rule here, what is it? I mean, is it hard to bring a cat in with an existing cat, territorialism, whatever?
At first, but later, no. Just at first.
They're not going to kill each other.
No.
Why you're like,
Well, I would think that they would fight.
I would too.
I would think, cats are catty.
Oh, wow. You should write something here. Going inside the courtroom.
okay. So I'm looking at the vet bills with the date that coordinates with what you're saying, and I see a vet bill for $1,020 and another vet bill for $30.60. And you had offered to pay the vet bills and then didn't. Why?
I said that I would be willing to pay the bills, and I said that I would want. He had left a contract for me on like my desk in my room,
Uh-huh.
and in the contract it said that I was responsible for this and subsequent visits and blah 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 blah. I had told him, and after the first visit, after his first trip to the vet, and he had paid the $700, I was like, dude, it's our like that like without consulting me, without figuring out something to do together to like kind of like get this figured out.
But
I
he
know
kinda
it's not his
doesn't- He doesn't have to,
responsibility.
though. He can take the cat to the vet of his choosing. He can, and then it just has to be, he can't get it in court unless it's reasonable, but it's a reasonable bill. He doesn't have to see if you can afford it. And the thing is, animals are animals. If you weren't in charge, both because you were the one present and because you were the one deciding how to acclimate the cats because you'd done it so many times and all that, this would be a different case. If two cats just scratch each other, that's what cats do. You got to eat your damages. But in a case like this, where you're the adult in charge and you're the human in charge, and you're the person deciding when it's too soon or whatever, and add to that the fact that I think according to you, one of the roommates said you forgot something when she went to bed one night and left her cat out.
There was no leaving the cat out. Like, he'd sleep in his room with the cat, so finally mine would be able to roam the halls. It was like something that worked out so she didn't have to be trapped.
It worked out for everybody, but what's your cat's name?
Mizu.
Oh yeah, Mizu. It didn't work out that much for
I
Mizu.
shouldn't have even-
Why are you suing for loss of work, $500?
Because the day I woke up
Can
and
you prove that?
realized I had 2 appointments set for that
No,
day.
not like that. Prove that you, do you have any evidence that you lost $500 worth of work?
No, I do not.
Okay. And you took Uber to the vets?
Yes.
And I see those receipts. I'm going to order the repayment of the vet bills for both visits as well as the transportation to get there for a total judgment in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $1,100.99. I'm not going to order the loss of work because I don't find that there was sufficient proof of it. That's my judgment. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
All right, both
Thank
sides.
you, Your
hold
Honor.
on.
So the plaintiff gets a judgment for $1,100. You probably could have gotten off cheaper if you'd have paid the $700 that you were talking about, came up earlier.
At least we both get to move forward, honestly. It's a moot point. you know.
Pretty rocky relationship.
And it's ended. It was like quick and stormy. It's
Yeah.
just how I like it. Yeah, and it's over.
And you're glad.
So stoked.
Okay, cool. Your
Thank
cat
you.
okay?
Yeah, she's
Good.
great. We're gonna
Okay.
be great.
Okay. Mr. Bushatsky's on his way out of court. Well, you're finally going to get some money for this.
Yeah.
Okay. You had to go to court. Did you think hard about doing that?
Yeah, it was a a difficult decision to make to take.
All right.
legal
Well, I'm glad
course.
your cat okay now.
Yeah, he's doing good.
I got to ask you a quick question. I'm sure everybody watching this is wondering, what is that going up around your neck?
That's a snake.
It is a snake.
Yeah.
How far does it come up?
Just to my chin.
Right to your chin? Down to
to
there?
here, yeah.
You ever regret doing it? Because you
No
can't
way.
miss it.
I love snakes. I'm
You
a
get a lot
reptile
of
nerd.
reaction to it?
Not so much, really.
People don't say they don't bring it up to
No,
you when
maybe
they're
just
looking
afraid
at you?
to, that's the thing.
Okay, well, anyway, thank you for explaining me what it
of
was.
course.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've
no
been
problem.
wondering.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The door is that way. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, so here's the deal, that there has to be some kind of supervision here, and there was a lack of supervision, which means there's negligence, which means there's liability. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Simeon Clyde Harris Jr. He says he purchased a car from the defendant, and they entered into a monthly payment agreement. The crazy defendant started demanding accelerated payments, ended up coming to his house and stealing the car and the property that was in it from him. And he's here suing this eccentric woman for every penny of the $5,000 he's most definitely owed. This is the defendant, Sandra Damore. She says the first check the plaintiff gave her for the car bounced, and she was charged a bounce fee from her bank. The problems with the plaintiff continued from there, so she took the car back. After all, it was still in her name on the title, and she had every right to take it back for non-payment. Bottom line, no payment, no car. She's accused of changing a deal.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff bought a car from the defendant, and she started changing the terms of the deal, demanding accelerated payments, and eventually she stole the car back. Now she says his check bounced, so all bets were off. It's the case of Help Me, Honda.
Thank you,
You're welcome,
Douglas. Simeon Clyde Harris Jr., you are suing Sandra Damore for $5,000, the statutory maximum in your state, my state. Tell me what's going on.
Back in June of 22nd of 16, I had met the defendant at a show that I was at. I play music, and the subject had came up that she was looking to sell the vehicle. And at that time, I was looking to buy a vehicle. So the short end of it, we started talking.
What kind of car is this?
It is a 2012 Chrysler 200.
Convertible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We started talking. Over a period of a past couple of days at that point, we decided to make a deal on the car.
What was the deal?
She asked me to draw up a contract on the details. So I drew up a contract. It was very, very, plain, simple, to the point.
May I see the contract? Okay, so the sale of the vehicle was for $8,800, and then you financed it at a rate of 5% for a total of $880 for 2 years, so the total sale of the vehicle, $9,680, correct? Well, all you had to do was put down $500 and you'd have a convertible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then make monthly payments of how much?
They were $250 a month.
Okay, and all you had to do was pay that $250 on time every month?
Correct.
Right, did you?
There was some late payments, but nonetheless, they weren't
May I
late.
see, do you have the proof of when you paid each of the payments?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, were any of them on time?
Like one, they ranged from being a day late,
Two?
I believe, maybe 15 days.
No, the last one was a month late,
Oh,
right?
yes, ma'am, that's
Oh,
correct.
okay.
yes.
So you were late a lot, and that was getting her angry, and you knew that was getting her angry. And you felt that she was going to your house and trying to take the car from you, right? But she was denying it.
Yes, ma'am. She kept going, showing up at my residence, like all hours of the night sometimes.
But
and-
according to you, she would deny it when you'd call her?
Yes, ma'am.
Why would you deny it?
I didn't deny it. I went there 3 times to get my car.
Okay.
And each time it was a big drama, chaos, the cops. And he frightened me so much that...
That you kept going back because you went there 3 times. It couldn't have frightened you that much.
Well, the last time I ran away because he scared me so bad.
Well,
I brought the cops
I mean,
there.
you were trying to repossess a guy's vehicle. What, like, you know? I mean,
Right, so
maybe
that's
you
what-
hire somebody to do
Then
that.
I did hire somebody.
Yeah, that's what you do. All right, now let me. You know, what were you doing? Going in the middle of the night to his property?
Yes.
How were you not like? And you're from Florida?
Yes.
You know, what if he shot you thinking you were a burglar? I mean,
Well-
this is a bad idea,
Right, it was on
particularly
my
in a stand your
part.
ground state, but in any state.
I
But,
thought he would be asleep and I could just sneak the car away.
okay, when did you become Annie Oakley? Like, when did you become? You know, what have you? I mean, that's kind of brazen.
Well, I would call him and tell him that I want my car back because you're not paying it. And I can't take the stress of this every month.
Right, every month having to chase him. That wasn't part of the
and
deal.
every day.
How often was he late?
Out of 12 months, he was late 8.
Okay,
I have the evidence on how many days he was late each month.
let me see that. Here's what I'm not getting. When you bought the car, and then did you register it in your name?
Yes, ma'am. The day, when we made the deal, what we did was we went down to a tag agency, the local tag agency.
Together?
Together.
And transferred the title to your name?
Yes, ma'am. She
And
put the
placed
title-
you as a lien holder?
Right.
Right, that's the right way to do it.
Which I have here.
Right, but then at some point, you switched the title to your name. You got a title in your name.
Yeah, I went back to there because I told
In
him.
March, you did that.
I went back and I called him and told him I was repossessing the car. Either he paid me in full or I was repossessing it. And he said it was a joke and all that, you can't do that. So I went to the motor vehicles and I said, I want the title back in my name.
Yeah,
the
but-
registration and the insurance and the tag all stayed in his name.
Right, but you can't just say, I'd like this car placed in my name at the title agency. That's not how it works. You have to hand them a signed title that purports to have his signature on it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really? I'm pretty sure you handed a title change that purported to have his signature on it. Because there is no other way to do this. You had to have forged his signature.
I had the original title with the lien on it.
Right, oh yeah.
And I took that to the motor vehicles, and I said I would like to put the car back in my name and take the lien off of it.
That's not how it works. You have to go to court and sue for the lien. There's no way they did that.
Well, I have.
No, see, the only way they could have done that is if you forged his signature and said, I repossessed the car, here, put the title back in my name.
So if somebody doesn't pay you for the car they bought from you, do you have a right to repo the car?
I mean, probably not. You would have to email them first and then tell them that.
Okay, well, fine. If you email them, then do you have a right to repo the car?
No, not factually.
Why?
Bad weather, bad terminology, but too much humanoids on the actual property rights.
Wow, that's interesting. Gonna go inside the courtroom.
So at some point, you hire a company and they successfully repossess the car, correct?
In June 30th, I hired a company to go and get my car back
And then they brought the car where?
to their pound.
Okay, you try to get, according to you, you had stuff in it.
Yes, ma'am.
And you text her, I have stuff in it. Do you ever tell her, I have my computer, I need it for work, I need it for... Do you ever say in your text, I have a
Yes.
computer there?
Yes,
Show me the text where you say that. Also, when the contract you told him to draw up doesn't say anything about you having a right of repossession. That's something that has to be in the contract. Otherwise, your right is to go to court and ask for a judgment against him for the full amount right now. You don't get to self-help like this. But if you want to have a repossession clause, then you have to put it in there. It's not in your contract. So then you repossess it, and then I see him texting you, I want to get my stuff, I want to get my stuff.
Right.
Right.
The
So
thing was-
where, did you find any texts that actually say, I want to get my computer?
You know what, Your Honor? No, I apologize. I don't. The only thing I mention is my personal things.
Yeah, that's all you say.
Yeah,
Because I would think that if you had jewelry to the tune of how much are you suing for? Jewelry to the tune of $350 and a Vizio laptop to the tune of $300, that those words might actually come out of your mouth when you're texting, as opposed to my stuff.
Your Honor.
Now, what was in the car?
I have pictures of what was in the
Who
car.
took the pictures?
I did. When I got the car out of pound, the guy that towed the car, he was
Do you know the guy who towed the car? Is he a friend?
No.
Okay, let me see the pictures.
The other thing, I have texts that says that he left his guitar, amp, and other accessories in there. He's not suing me for any of that.
What happened with telling her you left your guitar, your amp?
I figured if she knew the severity of it, that.
But that's a lie. That's not knowing the severity. You figured if you
True.
if you lied about how important it was, that she would what?
I figured she would at least meet up with me, give me my things, and
then your answer, because you're supposed to, even if you had a right to repossess, you're absolutely supposed to give him a chance to get his personal items out of the car. So what are we going to do now? You ended up getting the car. This, according to you, are the pictures of what's inside, which is a Yingling Lager pail. What is this blue thing? A lunchbox?
It's a lunchbox. It was all trashed.
Well, okay. Where is
these
all this
things-
stuff? Did you bring it today?
All that's trash, no, I didn't bring any
threw
of
it
that.
out?
But this here, I have in a text that the company that makes these or whatever he was working for, that they were going to sue me too for these.
Okay,
And
so let's see those.
They said they're worth like 5 cents. That's what I was told.
When you
Before I even-
texted about suing, the company was going to sue.
I told her there's actually a lot more than that in there.
There was 7 more.
There's.
Where are the
other-
rest of them?
I left them at home because I couldn't carry all of it.
You couldn't carry 4
7.
more of these?
No,
It
7
wasn't
more.
just those,
Just a
Your
minute.
Honor.
I'm sorry?
7 more. And
Yeah, you couldn't carry 7 more of these?
Well, I have a breathing problem, and I
Okay.
can't carry
I
things.
know, and I know I saw in the text how you told him.
I have-
You told him, and yet the judge is not going to appreciate that you took advantage of a 70-year-old woman. First of all, you look great for 70. And second of all, please don't play that card because you're repossessing stuff in the middle of the night. You are the most fierce 70-year-old, so don't play the victim. I can't stand that. And there's no reason to play the victim. I couldn't carry 7 more of these. Come on.
Well,
you
I
know,
had-
are you kidding me? Stop.
I have less
What? No, I want you to answer exactly what I'm asking, with no
Okay.
whining allowed. Besides the 7 more of these, what else do you have that was in the car?
That
The
was-
lunchbox, or did you throw that out?
I threw all that out. 'cause it
Okay,
was
so do
all
you have
garbage.
anything else besides the other 7? I can carry 3, but I can't carry 7 more. Okay, anything else?
No.
Because they all fit in the coach purse you're carrying. Okay, all right. Now, what happened to the car?
My brother came down from Tennessee and took it up there because I was so
Did
afraid.
he sell it?
No, I still have it, and if he wants it
Who
back.
has the car right now?
My
Your brother in
brother
Tennessee?
In Tennessee, and it has. I went and got tags and insurance on it.
In Tennessee?
No, in Florida, and then he came down to Florida because I was afraid because he had said that I would never see this car again and threatened me
So you
18
had your-
times.
So you had your brother come down and drive the car to Tennessee so
Yeah.
he wouldn't be able to get it back.
On these here, he threatened me 18 times that I was going to jail and all kinds of bad stuff.
Oh, I know. I read the text. He
Right.
said, you don't
And the
have a right to
thing-
take the car away. You don't have a right to hold my stuff hostage. You're going to go to jail. This is
Oh,
a
yeah.
felony. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
And he called the cops 3 times on me, and the cops couldn't do
Yeah,
anything.
because the cops are like, the title's in her name, dude.
Right.
And you're like, what? The
I was
title's in her
surprised.
name? How did that happen?
And the thing.
There's only one way that can happen.
And the thing was, he knew my nerves were bad because I lost 2 of my grown children.
Okay, I'm very sorry that you lost 2 of your grown children, but
and
let me
he
make
knows-
some recommendation. If you suffer from anxiety or bad nerves, probably you should not be repossessing cars in the middle of the night from a big guy.
I know.
That is not a good position for
I
you to be.
didn't make the right decisions
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm so
All right, stop talking,
vulnerable.
please. Stop, please stop.
Ma'am.
Can you use these? What are these about? Or that was just, you didn't really care?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor.
All right, no, I don't want you to say another word. All right, so here's what we've got. We've got you breaching a contract in terms of your late payments. I mean, you think it's okay, but it's not okay to constantly every month be late. We've got her doing something the contract did not, in my estimation, give her a right to do, which is to repossess the vehicle and self-help. She's in the position of anybody else who has a contract and a breach. She has to go to court and get help. We also have you going to a tag agency and forging his signature so that you can get the title back in your name, which is outrageous. But I've got you using a car for a year. You can't possibly think that you're going to get free use of a car for a year and that it's not going to cost you something, that you're not only going to get the money you paid back, more money on top of it, and then, hey, I had a bunch of stuff in there. You can't possibly think that that's fair. It's not. All right. What is fair? Douglas, what time is it?
I'm feeling a little rough justice, Your Honor.
You feeling it?
I feel it.
Are you feeling the rough justice? Because
Right in
I'm
here.
feeling it pouring out right now. Let's do a little math. All right. I am going to order the defendant to return to the plaintiff the amount of $1,500. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wow.
Well, the plaintiff is going to get $1,500, not $5,000. Mr. Moore, the defendant. Listen, I really would. Did you forge that
No, I
signature?
did not. I went to, not the motor vehicles.
You flat out deny that you saw.
I
You
do
know
not.
Judge Melian was a judge in the state of Florida for many
Okay,
years before
okay.
coming to the People's Court. She
No,
knows the law.
I don't recall, okay?
You don't recall what?
I lost 2 of my children, and my memory
I know, she's very
is-
sorry about
My
that.
memory is not good. I can't remember things. I really don't.
You just don't
And
remember
I
whether you
don't
forged?
I don't remember ever signing his name. I would never do that.
Well,
But I didn't
she's
go.
convinced you did. Okay.
I went
Sorry
to a
about that.
tagging.
Ma'am, I'm
but-
sorry.
Okay.
Case is over.
Right.
You lost.
Thank you.
Okay? Very good. Now, here comes the plaintiff. Here's a wild case. Wild case. Interesting. Okay. You all right now?
I'm okay.
All right? You know, you lost the stuff. You claimed the computer and everything.
Yes.
The judge doesn't believe that was in the car.
Yeah,
You know,
All right.
interesting. All right, you get $1,500.
Yes,
Good enough?
I'm okay with that.
Good
Yes,
enough.
yes.
You're going to have to be.
Absolutely,
That's the judge's
yes.
decision. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, if you want the ability to repossess, you have to put that in the contract before you sell it. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Tavis Dunbar. He says his neighbor's old tree fell on his car, damaging it, and the guy refuses to pay for the repairs. This car was a gift from his grandfather, and he just wants his car fixed properly. He's suing for $2,500, the amount he's owed for repairs. This is the defendant, Ronell. He says the plaintiff's car doesn't even run and is only worth a measly $600. Besides, he's not even convinced the tree that fell that night during a storm is his, and he has no proof from the plaintiff to back up his claims on whose tree it is. This guy's just looking for money for a car, which was already in horrible shape, and he's not paying this scammer a cent. He's accused of not being very neighborly.
All parties, please use your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says his neighbor's old tree crashed down on his car and he won't pay. But the defendant says the car is a clunker. He's not even sure it's his tree. It's the case of, I fell for you.
Thank you, Douglas.
welcome, ma'am.
Tavis Dunbar, you are suing your neighbor, Ronell. You've asked us not to mention your last name for $2,517 in damages to your 1994 Chevy Camaro. Tell me what's going on.
Well, I DJ at night, a late night. I was coming home, and I noticed that it was a tree in my parking spot. And when I pulled up closer to it, I noticed that that tree
Had there been a storm?
Yeah, it had just rained recently, that same night. I noticed that tree had hit my Camaro, so I called 311.
How big was the tree?
It was pretty big. I have pictures of it after he came and got it and cut it up and stuff like that.
How tall? Do you remember the tree? Like, was it a tree that you had seen always because you lived there, or
I mean, I've always seen the tree. It was,
how tall is tall?
I would say it was probably about, roughly about 6 or 7 feet
Okay.
or something like that.
So what happens? You come home and you see that it's been uprooted by the storm,
Exactly.
and it hit your car.
And it hit my car.
Okay.
The rear quarter panel.
Okay.
The quarter panel.
All right. You said you had pictures. Can I see the pictures?
Yes.
Is there a fence between your properties or no?
Yes.
And is the tree on the other side of the fence?
The tree was on the other side of the fence.
And
yes.
then it came into your side, which is why we're here. All right. So what happened that night? Do you know?
I came to the back of my property, and I seen the tree laying down.
Is that because of the storm?
Yes, it was real windy, like 60-mile-an-hour winds, and it
Did
was
you
raining.
summon the wind?
No.
You
No.
didn't?
No, even though it's the Windy City, I didn't summon it. No.
Okay.
But I seen the tree laying down, not on his car, but next to the car. So I came and knocked on his door to let him know I'll be cutting that tree up the next day. As soon as I knock on his door, he came out. He say, I say, you notice a tree on the ground? He say, yeah. He say, I called the police. I say, the police? He say, yeah.
That's a pretty big tree. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was. It had to be bigger than 7 feet.
15, it's about
Yeah, it had to be.
13,
I mean, just
15 feet.
looking at the size of it. Wow. That's the dent into your quarter panel. That's very significant.
And I also have pictures before the
Yeah.
damage.
But here's the thing, though, that I need to ask you is, I'm looking at the tree, and this is a really good video because it shows me that this is a completely healthy tree because I can see the inside of the bark in the beginning of the video. So what did he do that would require him to pay for your car?
Well, once
In other words, how is this not just an act of God? There's a storm. Bad things happen in a storm. You know, what we'd punish in court is bad behavior on the part of people, something that they did wrong. For example, the tree is decaying and he knows that's dangerous and he should know, and he doesn't bother to prune the tree or take the tree out, or, you know, something that the person does wrong. What did he do wrong? It's a perfectly healthy tree, and then there was a storm.
That's a good thing that you said that, Your Honor. Because after the fact that the tree had hit my car, and then I also talked to my landlord of the building about the situation, he told me that he should have been cut the tree down because they had already talked about the tree dying already.
Can you prove that? Or is that, because is that just words coming out of your mouth, or can you prove what you just said? Because you never mentioned that before in your complaint or anywhere else, so I'm going to require some proof on what you're saying. Otherwise, it's just what we call rank hearsay.
So if the tree falls, is the tree owner automatically responsible?
I think that's sort of what insurance is for, so I would assume, you know, it is their fault.
Well, forget about insurance. Do you think the owner is responsible if the tree falls?
Yes, I do. Absolutely their fault.
Even if it's a big storm. What is a big storm?
If it's a big storm, I think the owner have responsibility still.
Wow. Going inside the courtroom.
The only way I would be able to prove that if I gave him a phone call. But
Well, here's the thing, though. Had this tree been decaying at all?
No, not that I know of.
And had the landlord to the building ever talked to you about the tree?
No.
Ever at all?
No.
Anything at all, like trim it or something?
I don't even talk to the landlord next door.
Okay.
No.
Do you know him?
I know him. I don't talk to him. No.
Why don't you talk to him?
I'm just not that type of person who talks to my landlord. I mind my business and stay on my property.
Yeah. You're what we call out of gas on this, because it's not his responsibility unless you can prove that it's his responsibility. He did not summon the wind in the Windy City. This is the classic act of God that I am looking at. A tree got uprooted by 60-mile-an-hour winds, and that tree ended up doing damage. But that is not his fault unless you can prove it is, and you have provided zero proof that it is his fault, that there was anything wrong with the tree beforehand or any notice to him about it. And I'm particularly surprised because you're a person who comes into court with pictures and everything else, and then supposedly you have this evidence from your landlord that he was on notice that the tree was decayed. That'd be great if I saw evidence of a tree decay. I'm seeing the opposite of it in your evidence, which is that the bark was completely healthy. But I would expect a guy who comes with this evidence to have an affidavit from his landlord if that conversation had happened. You don't? I'm here now. The trial's over. Verdict for the defendant. I find this to be an act of God.
So the judge rules the tree's damage, or rather the tree's falling, was an act of God. So you're out of luck on this case. You should have had some evidence to bring with you, as like testimony from somebody or some written statement.
Well, yes, she did say that I should have had evidence from my landlord to back that up. I didn't, you know, I didn't think that I would need that after showing the video or whatever, that the tree did hit it. I understand that it wasn't
but it was
his
an act
fault,
of God. That's,
but, yeah.
according to the judge, that's the way it is.
I understand that it wasn't his fault, but it was off his property, which means that I, you know.
Well, you've learned a lesson.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Okay. Now here comes the defendant, Mr. Ronell. Did you realize how this was going to end up before you came in? I mean, did you know that you weren't going to be responsible?
I pretty much knew.
Pretty much
Yes.
so?
Yes, sir.
Were you surprised to get sued?
No.
You mean you thought you were going to get sued?
It happens. It
You're not
happens all the
surprised at
time,
all?
yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Harvey?
The key is putting people on notice. Email your neighbor, say you have an old tree and it's about to fall. That means they'll be liable if it does.